ladies and gentlemen. Once again, Donald Trump is going up in Polymarket. It's like around a 25-point lead now. I mean, it is getting out of control. The McDonald's yesterday, it swung even more people. Everyone loved it. Liberals nationwide are now saying that they think Donald Trump's an American hero and he's very likely to win this election. And Donald Trump, we're very thankful we're in the position that we are right now here with Donald Trump at around a 62.5% chance here. He's just been going up. He's going up in every single state. You look at Nevada, the early vote data there, Trump up to around a 55% chance. That was 50-50 for a while. Remember, Harris was up in Nevada in all the polls, and then we got some positive Trump movement, and now Trump's the favorite. Arizona still sitting 70-30. I think Trump's the clear favorite in Arizona. I think that's the easiest state for Trump to win when it comes to the swing states. You've got Georgia, Trump sitting at a 69% chance. Some nice early voting numbers in Georgia for Republicans. It's early. You know, we understand that. We'll see what happens by the time the election comes, the day of, where the early vote is at that point. But right now, Trump almost a 70% chance there. North Carolina, right around a 65% chance. So we're seeing Arizona around a 70, Georgia almost push up to around a 70 with the early vote data, and North Carolina sitting at 65. Those are the three states that have been above 60 this entire time, or like the past month for Trump. Pennsylvania now up to around a 58. There's been a few positive polls. If you get polls where Trump's sitting +2.5, +3, that's going to lead to more people betting on Trump to win Pennsylvania. He's up to around 58% chance there. Michigan at 56. So right around the same thing, not surprising. The Rust Belt's going to be very close, going to be very similar. And Wisconsin's at 57. So Pennsylvania's 58, Wisconsin's 57, Michigan's 56, Nevada is 55. Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina are all above 65 or at 65 or above it. So right now things look very, very good for Donald Trump. There's no doubt about it. Let me quickly take a look at the Senate. 81.5% chance in the Senate. The reason Republicans have been going up in the Senate, well, they don't have an actual graph on the Senate, but it's because Bernie Moreno is the lead has shifted to him in Ohio. It was around 50-50. Now Moreno is up to 58. Montana obviously is going to go to Sheehy. And then you're also looking at potentially, well, this one, that's interesting. They've got McCormick at a 28% chance, Rogers at a 30. Yeah, that's interesting because I've heard McCormick potentially leads in Pennsylvania. He's been getting more positive polls there. You're looking at Republicans potentially taking one Rust Belt seat. That's the hope, along with Montana, Ohio. Obviously, you keep Texas and Florida. And then you also, I would say, Arizona is going to be unlikely unless Trump's able to win it by around 4 points. In that case, I think Kerry Lake does have a chance. I mean, 80-20, you're not completely out of it with numbers like that. I did also want to show, this is real, 538. This is the first time. So 538, I don't think they were around in 2012 or they didn't do a polling model in 2012. 2016, 2020, 2024. Those are their three election cycles. They've all involved Donald Trump. This is the first time they've ever had Donald Trump leading their... Well, actually, it's not, because Trump was leading, I think, against Biden right before Biden dropped out. But obviously, that was kind of a whole nother thing. It's like they were not funding Biden on purpose, and his polling numbers were going down because a lot of Democrats wanted him out. Obviously, they're going full-fledged with Kamala. Democrats, they're spending millions and millions, and the numbers came out $250 million in the last month on ads alone for Kamala. They're going full throttle, and you've got Trump sitting with a 53% chance, which is crazy. The way that they weight their polls inside of their algorithm, 538, that is. You can see the recent stuff here. Listen, I give them credit. That's good. So I actually want to look at their pollster ratings. They've got Atlas Intel with a solid almost 3-star out of 3, I guess. Emerson, they've got 2.9. I don't know about Emerson being a 2.9. YouGov was not good in 2020. They've got him at a 2.9. See, this is the problem with them. YouGov was terrible in 2020. I mean, but either way, I mean, this is very good news for Trump, obviously, to even be up here just based off of how they weight their polls and how anti-Republican they tend to be. They do have the popular vote sitting. Harris plus looks like 1.7, 1.8, which doesn't surprise me. That's basically what it is. Actually, Real Clear Politics, it's around around 1. I think that's because Real Clear Politics has Rasmussen in their average, and Rasmussen does the popular vote polls, and 538 doesn't have them. The win probability, you can see Trump, right when Harris entered the race, did have a lead. That was mainly because we were trying to get actual polls on Harris, and then once Kamala found her footing with 538 and with the liberal pollsters, she jumped out all the way to around a 64% chance to win, and we've seen it get closer and closer and closer, and now it's flipped. And honestly, based off of the recent polls, I wouldn't expect it to flip back from the polls that I've seen. Like, I don't think Harris is going to take the lead tomorrow, and this is just like a little fluke thing. We're going to need more polling, and the polls that are going to update are more liberal polls. But overall, I would say that these are really, really good numbers for Trump, really, no matter which way you slice it. I mean, leading 538 is just ridiculous. It's almost unheard of. Where are their polling grades? You take a look at Michigan. See, I don't know how they have Harris up by 0.1 in Michigan. It's they're selective. See, they got this crap liberal pollster. How the hell does this, dude? I'm not gonna. This is ridiculous. How this pollster gets added to their aggregate. They act like they're some elitist, like, oh, we only take the best polls, and then this crap with a Harris +8 in Michigan with a sample size of 600 is added. Come on. But look, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, they've also got the Senate race very close. They've got Brown up by 1.5. I guess it's just the way. You can see the recent polls. I'm surprised they include active vote. But Moreno plus the 4. Even the Compost has Moreno +1. That's interesting. Washington Post there. But either way, guys, right now, I mean, Trump is just looking. I don't know why I went to that. Trump is just looking unbelievable. There's no denying it. This is the highest he's been, I think, since we've seen. When you look at, we'll follow this, and dude, look at this. Well, this looks glitched a little bit. Like, it's just going, it's like a straight curved line up. Yeah, this is, if you look at this, right around his all-time high again, and then you zoom it out, and look at that. Wow. I mean, maybe we'll see it come close again, but this is a clear difference in terms of overall odds. And this is the betting market. I mean, people, they're gonna, Americans can't bet. Well, what about VPNs and people put their actual money on this? It's ridiculous to say that Republicans are manipulating every single sports book to try and seem like Trump's up by. I mean, look at the polls. Look at the liberal pollsters. The liberal pollsters even have it to where they're admitting that Trump is basically tied in terms of the popular vote. And now Trump is, I think this is a great, I mean, you're seeing Trump start to make up some serious ground on this. Kamala was at around 75-25 back in late September. Now Trump has made up seemingly 12 points in that time frame, and we might get it to be 50-50 here, because the interesting thing is, if you look at all those polls, a lot of these polls that are going to fall off, they're all Harris polls. So obviously they're going to put updated polls, like Marist is going to do an updated poll, CBS News will do an updated poll. They're all going to do it. But if they come back with updated polls and it goes from a Harris +4 to a Harris +1, right? Now that +1 is replacing the +4. And so this number is going to go down, actually. This number will go down. And obviously this is something that people gauge when they bet. And if you see that number go down, Trump might even go up by more, and he might go up to like 50-50 in terms of the popular vote even. And maybe Trump should be the favorite right now in the popular vote when you look at two of the most accurate things that we've seen, the Gallup Party ID over the last 6 election cycles, along with the Atlas Intel. Although Atlas Intel's, they've been accurate, but it's only been 2020. You want to stress that. You can't say, well, they're always accurate. Well, Gallup is always accurate, to be fair. Yeah, Gallup, that's the death blow. That's the one that's always accurate. If you're a liberal, you can kind of cope and say, well, Atlas, it was a fluke, it was a one-time thing, and that is understandable. You can't just sit there and say Atlas is going to be 100% accurate this year because they were accurate in 2020 and 2022. But the other thing you have to understand with Atlas is they have not moved off of their current prediction or off of their current poll for like 3 months. So they keep doing new polls and they're getting the exact same results over the past 3 months. So when you combine that with the fact that they were so accurate in 2020 in terms of the popular vote, along with them not moving at all, that would say they're zeroing in on Trump potentially winning the popular vote by around 2 or 3 points, along with the Gallup Party ID being a Republican +2 advantage for the environment. So I don't know, man. This is looking really good. I mean, dude, did I not say that? I mean, there was going to have to be some adjustment. It never made sense. And I'll be honest, the polls have gotten even better for Trump, but it's not like it's anything crazy. I thought Trump should have been up for like the entire time. Maybe there was a time in the summer when there was a lot of Kamala hype where she was up in like Michigan and Wisconsin. But in general, it's like if you factor in the 2016 and the 2020 error, we don't need those errors for Trump to win. We don't need any error. We do not need a single error for Donald Trump to win. The polls at this point could overestimate Trump and he could still win, meaning they could be biased against Dems and Trump could still win. That's how much he's up by in some of these states. So this is pretty, because that's what happened in 2020 with Biden. They overestimated Biden, but he still won because he was up by so much. And 2020, we're not going to rehash that. But I mean, this is just, there's really nothing else to say at this point when it comes to these polls. You're 7. And then when it comes to the next states that Republicans could flip outside of the swing states, you're looking at a Virginia, Trump sitting with a 16% chance, and then a Minnesota, Trump sitting with a 12% chance. So yeah, the only way that these would really move, and we saw this move pretty significantly for Trump. I wouldn't be shocked if it moved again, but you need polling. You would need polling. And honestly, this is, you had Kamala at around a 90% chance in mid-September. Now it's gone down to 85. So it's moved about 5 points. I mean, there's been positive movement even in a lot of these, mostly liberal states like a Virginia, where this is like next in line. And you could see if you get a few positive polls, this really shift to almost be like a 60-40 type liberal lead when it comes to election night in Virginia. If you get a few positive polls like that Mary Washington poll we got with Virginia where Harris was only up by 2. Now there's been polls since then that have Harris up by more, and that's the problem. And that's why Trump really hasn't been able to make up ground in Virginia. Even though technically when you look at the polls, Minnesota is closer than Virginia, these odds just based off of, I mean, you see the massive come up Trump had there. Minnesota is really not talked about, mainly because of the Glenn Youngkin factor in Virginia. Now, Trump really didn't do a rally in Virginia, which surprised me. Maybe they just don't, maybe it really doesn't matter. But it is interesting they're going to New York, which obviously Trump's not going to win. Although it'll be interesting to see the narrative out of New York with the Madison Square Garden rally, and maybe Trump's people trying to release some internal polls that have it close or something, just to give people a reason to want to vote and help with the popular vote in New York. It wouldn't surprise me if they did something like that. But obviously New York is going to go left in 2024. But either way, guys, this is crazy. It is a huge, huge lead for Donald Trump. Everyone's talking about that McDonald's appearance. It was amazing, and it certainly helped Trump go up by around 2 more points. And I would imagine the other betting sites are going to follow. I mean, you're looking at Trump in terms of overall odds, like a 59, 60, 61, 62% chance to win this election based off of everything. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.